and Vulnerability Analysis Report.
Poultry shortage likely to hit cold stores due to delays in poultry imports.
Reports show more than 200 girls aged between 10 and 14 got pregnant in Upper Dentra East from January to June 2021.
And the UK government to remove all 11 countries on its travel red list from tomorrow, Wednesday, December 15, 2021.
You're welcome to our studios here in Broadcasting House. My name is Micheline Taka. This is News Hour.
And my name is Clara Umlano. We are live on GTV, GBC News, and DSTV on channel 278.
We are also live on YouTube and Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Translating the news in sign language is Robert Frimpong Manso.
To our first story, about 3,600,000 households in Ghana, constituting approximately 12% of all households in the country, are food insecure. This is contained in the 2020 Comprehensive Food Security and Vulnerability Analysis Report launched in Accra.
The report was designed to determine the prevalence of food security in Ghana.
In the definition of the World Food Summit 1996, food security is the physical and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food by all people at all times to meet their dietary needs and food preference for an active and healthy life, to ensure food security and meet the SDGs Goals 2 and 3, which are about ending hunger and addressing undernourishment among mothers and children, and ensure that people live healthy lives and reduce child mortality and raise life expectancy. The 2020 Comprehensive Food Security and Vulnerability Analysis CFSVA report was launched in Accra. It is the fourth report since 2004. Data was collected from all 260 districts in Ghana, where 65,000 households were randomly visited.
The purpose of this main activity is to be able to let Ghana or Ghanaians know what is the prevalence of food insecurity within the country.
Explaining the content of the CFSVA report, the coordinator of the research, Dr. Peter Pepra, said food insecure households spend more on food and eat less diverse food, hence the poorer a household, the more food insecure it is. He recommended the development of all year-round irrigation and mechanization schemes to support large and small-scale farming to engender all year-round food production. The country director of the World Food Programme, Ms. Barbara Clements, mentioned that the CFSVA report provides a rigorous analysis of data for policy making and development planning.
WFP's role in Ghana is evolving from direct assistance to enabling development support. Focus on technical assistance like this exercise, but not limited to, for example, flood assessments and the quarterly food and nutrition monitoring systems.
This exercise is conducted every 3 to 5 years to analyze prevailing food security and nutrition situation trends. For GBC News, Yaira Lawe reporting.
Members of Poultry Farmers Association say there may be a shortage in supply of poultry from cold stores this Christmas due to delays in poultry imports as a result of disruptions in the global container shipping industry. The Chief Executive of Chamber of Agribusiness, Mr. Anthony Morrison, and the National President of the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association, Mr. Victor Oponweje, explained the impact of the shortage in an earlier interview with GBC News.
Cost of corn, millet, wheat, wheat bran, and several others. We've seen prices shot up tremendously with regards to the feed additives, which is lactin, methionine, potassium, amino, the immune boosters, vitamins, and all that. So this has heavily contributed towards some shortages in the industry, and we looking to see how such shortages could be mitigated. Well, government in the budget stated they were going to distribute 2 million day-old chicks. Now, if we are going to do broilers takes to 5 to 6 weeks. We are 2 weeks to Christmas. By end of January, if government is able to supply these day-old chicks, we should be able to have some chicks, poultry feed coming in by end of January. But if this is not the case, then it's actually going to have a major challenge on the industry. There is an enormous investment opportunity, an industry that has what it takes to make our country and economy very strong and robust.
From next academic year, all technical and vocational education training institutions will be on the computerized placement system for selection for junior high students. At the launch of the Ghana TVET service in Accra, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says the government is also in the process of establishing career-based second cycle TVET applied technology high schools across the country to support Ghana's entrepreneurial and skills development.
Technical and vocational education training TVET is regarded as a vital engine to Ghana's industrialization drive. Since 2017, a lot of work has gone in transforming education and training which provides knowledge and skills for employment in the country. The first was to add technical and vocational education training to the free SHS program. Today, there are more than 139 TVET schools under the free SHS program. The next was to implement the various reforms and projects in the TVET sector, including the rehabilitation and upgrading of technical universities, upgrading and modernization of 34 NVTI centers, retraining TVET institutes, and establishing 10 state-of-the-art TVET institutes. The latest, the revamping and mainstream of all the 280 technical and vocational education training institutions under the Education Ministry for oversight responsibility by the Ghana TVET Service. The Director General of the Ghana TVET Service, Maushi Nudoko Awiti, said TVET has turned the page.
We are going to give a new face to TVET in Ghana, reignite the passion of the young men and women in TVET, and make TVET the first point of call to education in Ghana.
The senior advisor to the President, Mr. Yaosaf Mafu, said the Ghana TVET Service should intensify entrepreneurial skills development.
Any nation that looks down on plumbing because it is a modest career, but gratifies shoddy philosophy because it is an exalted profession, will soon realize that neither its pipes nor theories will hold water.
The German ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Daniel Krug, promised the German government's commitment to support Ghana's TVET program. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, said skills development is certainly the way to go.
As a people, we need to remind ourselves that the young people of our country are among the most gifted and talented globally. However, the onus lies on us, Ghanaians, government, to provide our high school students with the necessary vocational and technical skills acquisition for the socio-economic transformation of our economy.
He said a new applied technology school will soon be rolled out.
And the applied technology high schools would be designed as career-based technical education, which integrates career and technical education with a rigorous academic core and industry participation.
Experts are of the view that with a single regulatory body to oversee Ghana's TVET program, the country is on the path to reap the full benefit of technical and vocational education.
The Mamprugu Magduri District Assembly has received a grant amount of $89,966 through the Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Projects of the Japanese government. It is for the construction of a chips compound at the Prema community in the Mamprugu Magduri districts in the northeast region. Oforiwa Dakon reports.
The provision of the CHIPS compound will offer the people of Prema and surrounding communities access to a quality health delivery system and also provide them with qualified health personnel. Over 5,200 people are expected to benefit from the grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, JGHSP, of $89,966.
We have recorded an alarming number of avoidable deaths as a result of the situation, and it gladdens our heart to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
The Japanese ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Hisanobu Mochizuki, noted that through the GGHSP grant contract, the Japanese government would continue to prioritize projects that seek to provide basic human needs for all.
There is need to ensure the project is sustainable to serve the intended purpose. The culture of good maintenance must be adopted to ensure the sustainable use of the facility over a long period of time.
GGHSP target areas aim to improve human security with focused project areas such as basic education, primary health care, water and sanitation, and agriculture. For GBC News, Ofeyiwa Dako reporting.
It is the season of giving, and a former UN ambassador to the United States, Dr. Arikana Chihobori-Kwao, has put out a publication chronicling parts of her life's experiences. All proceeds from the book will be donated as capital to support the 5 African teams to represent Africa at the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup. Dr. Arikana called on Africans to work together to dismantle the system of racism and any form of oppression that creates inequity and threaten the black man's survival. The book, African 101, The Wake-Up Call, also highlights basic issues we must understand as blacks if we continue to be black people.
All humans are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Regrettably, black people are often not treated accordingly. They are still subjected to racism in many countries. Laws and systems from many countries appear slow to curb the discriminatory practices that keep black people as second-class citizens. Recent events, including the tragic death of George Floyd in the United States, have brought the issue of black oppression and racism at the forefront of the world. Ambassador Dr. Arikana Chihobori-Kwao, like many other human rights activists, stand tall in the fight against racism. A doctor for over 29 years, the educator and diplomat was born in Zimbabwe. She moved to the United States after she was appointed the African Union representative to the U.S. in 2017. However, her appointment was terminated after she was given notice that she was no longer a permanent ambassador in 2019. Giving account of her life experience as a woman, she became courageous to talk about the black man's struggle and ill treatment following her appointment to the UN.
Let's get our priorities straight. Let's understand this African tree of life. The issues of the root. Issues that if we do not address, nothing we do above the ground is going to change. So Africa 101 is an effort to begin that conversation.
On racial violence, the former ambassador said black mothers are determined to break the culture of silence. The president and founder of the Coalition of Supporters Unions of Africa, a charity organization using sports to build African unity, Mr. Safo Abebrese, commended Ambassador Arikana Chihobori-Kwao for the book, saying it resonates with the plight of the black man who remains marginalized. The guest speaker, Dr. Sir Sam Jonah, also commended the former ambassador and praised women for breaking the ceiling with their exceptional roles. He recommended the book to every African student to highlight the inequalities the black man faces. The first 2 books were sold for $6,000 and 5,000 cedis respectively. The book will also be launched in other African countries, and all proceeds will go to support the youth of Koswa.
Sectorial ministers of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have proposed January 1 next year for the reopening of all land borders. The bloc took the decision in collaboration with the West African Health Organization during a virtual meeting last Friday. The West African economy lost about $50 billion in value, or 6.7% of the bloc's cumulative GDP since 2020, when the sub-region first recorded cases of COVID-19. The ministers also recommended the effective implementation by member states of the harmonized directives of ECOWAS against the COVID-19. They also urged member states to ensure mutual recognition of PCR tests at the borders and the harmonization of their validity period. Our Upper East Regional correspondent Samuel Ayama shared with us how traders responded to the decision taken by ECOWAS.
Give it in a good faith. They are so happy about that decision or the directive by the ECOWAS to make sure they open their borders to allow them move freely and then go in there and then do their business. Because when you move to Paga border, for instance, very soon the tomato traders or women who trade in tomatoes from the southern part of the country, Kentampo, Kumasi, Accra, any other areas in the country, they normally go there for these their business. But because there was a closure, even though there wasn't a closure of goods and services, like moving goods from that part of the country and from this place to that end, but there are some women who actually go there and buy in their, like they buy in small quantities and come to Ghana and sell. These women were not allowed when they are going there. They always face a lot of challenges. And then you move to places like Pulmakom, that is in the Pusika district, and then you move to Kulugugu, also in the Pusika district. These borders, the women there, they do butter trade, where they carry share butter across the other country, that is in Sankasi, B2, Sankanduri, just to sell and then buy some other cereals there to come and then at least prepare something for their family. But because of the closure of the borders, they were not having that chance to go there. So it is just welcoming. They are really happy about.
A 7-member jury has been empaneled by the Criminal Court Division of the Accra High Court ahead of the trial involving one, Mr. Lucas Agboye, who has been accused of murdering a 7-year-old girl at Ashaiman in 2015. The deceased was said to have passed by a metal container where Mr. Agboye resided. Mr. Agboye allegedly abducted and killed her. The case has been adjourned to January 12, 2022, where parties to the suit are expected to address the jury.
According to the prosecution, on April 19, 2015, the 7-year-old deceased was on her mother's errand with a 20 Ghana cedi note to buy bread but did not return. The naked body of the victim was later found lying flat on her back on an old student's mattress in the container where the accused lived, with blood oozing from her mouth and nostrils. Before the accused person was committed to stand trial at the High Court, Mr. Agboye, aka Sympathy, had confessed to killing the 7-year-old, after which he had sex with her dead body. He made the confession at the District Court in September 2016. On November 25, 2018, the lawyer for the accused filed an application for an order for his client to undergo psychiatric examination. The lawyer submitted that he was unable to have meaningful interactions with his client in order to mount any sort of defense on his behalf. The court on February 25, 2019 granted the order. The accused, Mr. Lucas Agboyi, has pleaded not guilty to the charge of murder of the 7-year-old girl and has been remanded into prison custody. On Tuesday, December 14, 2021, the High Court, presided over by Justice Elfrida Dinchi, swore in a 7-member jury who will be hearing the matter from the adjourned date. The case continues on January 12, 2022.
The case of 5 persons, including a retired midwife who were allegedly involved in the stealing and sale of babies at a Tuabo and Hafasine in the Western region, has been adjourned to January 19, 2022. This is because Madame Evelyn Asamoah, who presided over the matter at the Circuit Court, is on leave. The 5 were charged and granted a combined bail in the sum of 750,000 cedis in November 2021. The first accused person, Cynthia Bayedeng, a 63-year-old retired midwife, is facing 2 counts of child stealing, while the others' charges have been spread. They were all granted bail in the sum of 150,000 cedis each, with 2 sureties to be justified with title deeds. They are to report to the police every Monday until the final determination of the case.
On Communications has suspended consideration of the 2022 budget allocation to the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. The committee says the ministry has for the past 6 years failed to furnish the House with audited accounts of the National Communications Authority and other agencies. Addressing the media on the issue, the deputy ranking member on the committee, Mr. Samuel Nate George, said the sector minister, Mrs. Eslawusu Ekufo, claimed some of the reports are already before the House, but upon scrutiny, it was detected that the ministry had only presented the 2015 and 2016 reports. Mr. Nate George said that contradicts what the communications minister had said during her vetting. He said the committee has therefore decided to discontinue consideration of the budget estimate to the ministry until the right thing is done. Meanwhile, the communications minister, Mrs. Eslawusu Ekufo, in her reaction said reports from all agencies under her ministry will soon be submitted, at least within 1 month.
We had copies of the 2015 and 2016 reports with me in the committee sitting room at the time, and I showed it to the members, and that the 2017 report was in my office, and that if they would give us a few minutes, we would make it available to members to peruse. And so sitting was adjourned for 30 minutes to enable us produce the 2017 reports. The members came back and we showed it to them, showed them the report of 2018 as well, which was at the printer. So we showed them the bound copy of it, and that it is being printed as we speak. And subsequent to that, the estimates of the ministry have been presented to the committee, and I think about 4 agencies also started presenting their estimates to the committee. So I'm surprised to hear that sitting was suspended for the day. We were sacked and told to go away until we presented all the reports. Mind you, I was not the minister in 2015 or 2016. So this thing started long before the NPP came to power. But I am the minister now, and it is my responsibility to ensure that the annual reports of my agencies are laid before Parliament. And I indicated at my vetting that I would ensure that it is laid before Parliament as soon as I receive it. I never said anywhere that I have it and it is before Parliament and it is ready to be laid, because as at the time, It was not. All those composite reports which were outstanding, I got them today. If 1 month from today I have not presented them to Parliament, then I would be in breach of the law. And that's what we explained to them, that I'm working very hard, putting pressure on the NCA to ensure that they present their composite report so that I can also present it to Parliament. Majority of the members were satisfied. Sitting has commenced. So far as I'm concerned, there is no problem.
We are back after this break. Please do stay.
Hello, good evening and welcome. Time now for the business segment, proudly brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. I am Dorothy Ajimai. The Bank of Ghana is warning that uncertainties over food and petroleum prices may exert inflationary pressures in 2022. Although the economic outlook remains positive, the central bank said it will closely monitor developments to prevent the potential risk of undermining long-term inflation targets and its price stability goal. The governor of the Bank of Ghana sounded the caution at the 2021 annual Bankers Week dinner of the Chartered Institute of Bankers here in Accra.
Inflation steadily eased to as low as 7.5% in May 2021 from 11.4% at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in July 2020. It, however, quickened to 11% 5 months later, jumping out of the central bank's medium target band of between 6 and 10%. The Bank of Ghana attributed the development to supply and demand shocks in food and petroleum products. Speaking at the annual Bankers Week dinner, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, said the underlying inflation pressures are also elevated, highlighting the risk to the inflation outlook. In addressing that, the central bank raised the monetary policy rate by 100 basis points to 14.5%, the first increase in several months.
The economic outlook for 2022 is positive, although there are some potential risks which should be closely monitored. in particular the uncertainty surrounding food prices, petroleum price adjustments, and the potential second-round effects of these are likely to exert inflationary pressures in the outlook.
The governor added that the country is burdened with demonstrating stronger recovery and ensuring that the ambitious revenue target is achieved.
We are at a point where there is no room for policy forbearance on all levels. Otherwise, the huge financing burden would unravel the anchor and erode the gains that we have made in the last 4 years. This calls for a social contract on all fronts, with common aspirations across the aisle to make sure that we sustain the recovery's momentum.
Despite the price pressures, the Bank of Ghana is confident inflation will hover around the upper limit of a target band of 8 plus or minus 2.
SIC Insurance PLC survived the ravages of COVID-19, making profit after tax of 6 million cedis last year. The company will, for the first time since 2015, pay a dividend of 15 pesos to shareholders, with a promise of sustaining payouts. With the company's current standing, managers of SIC have assured shareholders the company is in the position to meet the new minimum capital requirement of 50 million cedis before the 2022 deadline.
Just when Ghana's financial sector was exiting the disruptive effects of the banking sector cleanup started in 2018, COVID hit with its effects on the larger Ghanaian economy. The economy grew 0.4% in 2020 compared to 6.8% in 2019. Despite the challenges, Ghana's largest general insurer remained strong, returning value to shareholders. Gross written premium went up 14.4% from 211 million Ghana cedis in 2019 to 242.1 million cedis in the year under review 2020. Despite a slight drop in profit after tax from 9.3 million in 2019 to 7.4 million cedis in 2020, the fundamentals of the company remained strong. Much of the company's growth was driven by its FAR portfolio. This segment of the business recorded 98.8 million as against 67.2 million cedis in 2019, an 11% growth over the previous year and a 40.8% contribution to the overall premium mobilized.
We are doing better than 2021 numbers look much better than 2020. So I'm very hopeful. Not only are we going to pay or capable of paying dividends going forward, we might be able to even pay more.
Speaking to GBC News, Managing Director of SIC, Mr. Stephen Odro, assured shareholders the company is better placed to meet the new minimum capital requirement of 50 million cedis as the 2022 deadline approaches.
SIC is a very big company, and SIC is a premium insurance company in Ghana. You know, I can assure the public and I can assure the owners the minimum capital requirement, we've even gone past it. You know, so it's not even an issue for us.
Due to SIC's current financial position, shareholders will receive 0.0153 cedis dividend amounting to 3 million Ghana cedis. This amount is to be paid in February of next year. Moving forward, managers of SIC will focus on business sustainability anchored on technology and digitalization. Maurice Ogbete, GBC News, Accra.
You're still watching the business segment of News Hour. Over 150 female entrepreneurs across the country would be taking through the rudiments of exports to enable them access the international markets. The training, according to Deputy Chief Executive at the Ghana Export Promotional Authority, Mr. Albert Kasim Diura, is to ensure that women who owned businesses are well versed with the nuances of exports.
Ghana is listed as one of the top 3 countries with the highest percentages of women-owned businesses across 58 markets globally, across the 4 categories of Ghana's exports, that is, agribusiness, manufacturing and services, industrial arts and crafts. Women businesses make up to 65%. Out of this number, women-owned businesses dominate the processed and semi-processed sector, producing food products and derivatives, beverages and cosmetics. At a forum to train women in the export space, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority will be training women across the country to make them carve a niche for themselves in the export market. The trainees will be taken through courses on the legalities of international trade, target markets in export, and export documentation, among others. A Deputy Chief Executive at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Mr. Albert Kassim Dirura, spoke of the reason why women were the focus of the training.
For us, this is an opportunity that we think that we should actually bring to the doors of the women, because they are very forceful, and when they are in the forefront of affairs, they want to make sure that it succeeds by all means. And so this is not the first time we are organizing such training for women. We have a track record, and we think they've stand the test of time.
A principal export development officer at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Augustina Dankwa, called on participants to collaborate among themselves, network, and put the knowledge acquired to good use to ensure they are better placed in the export space.
Let's have the prices of gold, cocoa and light crude from the Commodity Board and the performance of the local currency from the Forex market. Proudly brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. Coming up is the energy segment. Please do stay.
Welcome to the energy segment. My name is Mabel Anang. Controlling cost, prudent management and investment, increasing revenue by exporting to neighboring countries remain key strategies in sustaining the Volta River Authority VRA for 60 years. This approach was highlighted at the VRA's annual general meeting in Accra.
VRA has been a great instrument in Ghana's energy sector. It remains at the forefront of national development, spearheading the extension of electricity in the country across borders and a lifeline to industries. The authority has made strides in its financial and operational performance after a period of financial losses some years ago. At the 60th Annual General Meeting, the Chief Executive of VRA, Mr. Emmanuel Entridakwa, said the good performance is due to the company's decision to leverage on technology to cut costs and control revenue usage.
Ghana market, which is the ECG market, because of the advent of IPPs, we were not able to make a lot of headway. But the most important thing, I think, for all state institutions is to control your costs. That's what you control. And do some work on your revenues. If you get these two together, that's it. We've also introduced a lot of technology as part of the way, as part of controlling our costs. So we leverage technology to get things done much quicker than we used to do in the past and at a lower cost.
The Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, SEGA, Mr. Stephen Asamoah Boateng, commended the VRA for its proactive adoption of technology in its operations and the excellent management practices during the peak period of COVID-19.
You've done well, especially looking at the situation of 2020, the COVID-19 era, and how you coped. I remember those days we had to quickly get together and issue some guidelines to all of you, all CEOs, on continuity of government business. And I remember His Excellency the President engaging me and asking that we make sure that none of you lay off any worker in the SOEs. And I'm glad to stand here and say that congratulations, nobody lost their jobs.
For VRA Board Chairman Mr. Kofi Tutuejare, the board has its eye on turning around the financial fortunes of the company and is working hard to ensure tariffs reflect cost of generation.
We obviously have a relationship with our sister companies, ECG, NEDCO, GridCo, where the extent to which we have balances, we need to find a way of rationalizing those. The tariff, which is a very sensitive issue, is something that needs to be discussed, because most of the inputs in the energy sector are in dollars and we receive money in cedis, and so we have to work very closely with our friends at PORC to ensure that the tariff truly reflects the cost of generation.
Ghana's overall hydrothermal and solar generation was 60.4850 gigawatt hours in the last 24 hours. Benin, Togo and Burkina Faso received 3.2856 gigawatt hours of power from Ghana in the last 24 hours. Here are some more details.
For hydro energy generated in the past 24 hours, Akosombo recorded 17.9250 gigawatt hours, Pong 2.7580 gigawatt hours, and Bui 3.9561 gigawatt hours. Here's what functional thermal power producers contributed to the generation mix within the period. The three hydropower plants produced 24.6391 gigawatt hours. Operational thermal power plants contributed 35.6525 gigawatt hours, and total solar generation was 0.1934 gigawatt hours. Total power generation was 60.4850 gigawatt hours in the last 24 hours. For hydrology, the water level in the Akosombo Lake was 82.290 meters, below the maximum level of 84.73 meters, while the level in the Bui Dam was 178.460 meters, below the maximum elevation of 183 meters in the last 24 hours.
That's how we wrap up the energy segment. Health news is up next.
hour. My name is Mavis Champo. The health news is brought to you by Lufat, Tobinco's premier gift to West Africa against malaria. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, says though COVID-19 cases in the country in terms of numbers are low, but the threats are still high considering the new Omicron variant. He said some travelers who came into the country from Nigeria and South Africa 2 weeks ago have recorded the Omicron variant, yet Delta variant is still high.
Doesn't require any special treatment. It's just a variant of the same virus. All those who test positive at the airport, we do sequencing for them. The last batch we've done a couple of batches, and we have seen Omicron in all of them. The first batch was the first one about 21st of November. That's when we started seeing the first cases, where we saw about 34 out of 116. Subsequent ones, we found another number at the airport, but still Delta is the highest. Unfortunately, we have seen some numbers in the community labs. The sample have taken the community lab, which means that we've had Omicron within the country. But what matters most is the fact that the preventive and the preventive methods are the same: the mask wearing, social distancing, and hand washing works, and most importantly, the vaccination. We also have fourth wave in countries around us who are coming to, and the most important is the festive season. It creates a situation where there's a lot of movement, a lot of visitors, and these are all the pointers to the danger that we need to prepare hard to ensure that we don't get any surges across the country. Even though the numbers are low, the threats and the pointers are that if we don't do something different, we may end up in a situation that we found ourselves early this year.
The Dunkwa Municipal Health Directorate of the Ghana Health Service in the Upper Dentra East says the municipality recorded an increase in teenage pregnancy cases this year. It says from January to June, over 200 girls between ages 10 and 14 got pregnant.
Lack of sex education, peer pressure, family factors, influence of mass media, sexual abuse or rape have been identified as factors associated with teenage pregnancies. The Upper Dentra East Municipal Health Directorate said out of 221 teenage pregnancies recorded this year, 40 of the girls were between the ages of 10 to 14, while 181 were between 15 to 19. The Queen Mother of Oforikrom, Nanaya Kunedu, advised parents to provide the needs of their children, since many of the girls are enticed into sex by men who give them money and other gifts in return for sexual favors.
Any near marketing, one more dear, dear Mumpo. I told the dear near to Omo at Param. And in Colana, almost seen one. Baffling now, here, and Nanny a jaddo, any acquaintance. I'm rich with the year, and I school number from rich with the call.
She said teachers and parents must not shy away from sex education and the dangers associated with unprotected sex.
The health news was brought to you by Lufat, Tobinco's premier gift to West Africa against malaria. Foreign news is next.